Moving on to the next matchup between the Houston Texans and the Cleveland Browns. Who do you guys have winning this game? I have the Browns. How about you?
Texans.
Texans.
Browns.
Yeah, why are you going Brown?
Why am I going Browns? What do you mean, why am I going Browns?
The Texans are the underdog, boy.
Yeah, the Texans are the underdogs.
Oh,
The Texans have won 2 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Literally, the Browns have the number 2 receiver in the league.
All right, he's hurt, man. Come on, dude. Not funny.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah. All right, I'm picking Cleveland. What's his name effect? What's his name?
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb effect.
Ah,
Chubb's back.
Bradley Cooper.
Browns are going to win. That's my pick.
I don't understand why you guys pick the Texans, though. Considering
Yeah, why the Texans?
Yeah.
It's in Cleveland. It's in
J.J.
Cleveland.
Watt is going to stop the run this week.
Just J.J. Watt.
Just J.J. Watt. No one else.
20, 30 tackles.
Their D-line
Yes.
is J.J. Watt.
I expect a big game from the Texans offense this week.
All right.
I think that their defense is going to do good this week.
I
Against Baker Mayfield, he's going to throw 3 picks.
I think Brandon will talk more about the Texans offense later on as well. So we'll just move into positional breakdown for fantasy. Baker, good streaming option. Houston's 28th against fantasy quarterbacks, but it is a bad weather game. I've heard that it's going to be like 20-plus mile-an-hour winds, so downgrade passing, and they don't pass a lot anyway. And with getting Chubb back and with Hunt, I think they'll run the ball a lot.
Aren't the Texans like bottom 3 in running back defense too?
I think so. We'll get to that, I think. Deshaun Watson, QB4 in points per game since week 5, averaging 27.8 points. But those were all against great matchups in the Jags, the Titans, the Packers, and the Jags again. And this is another great matchup with the Browns. If you have him, start him. Good matchup. Put Deshaun Watson in. So Nick Chubb, as Zach talked about, Houston's horrible. They're 30th best, so they're third worst. If Nick Chubb returns, which it's looking likely, I think you play him. Hunt is also a good flex. I think they're both at least RB2s this week with this awful defense. David Johnson, his health is in question. Cleveland is 13th versus running back. Not expecting anything great if Duke comes back and plays. It is a revenge game for Duke Johnson, so you gotta account for that. But I don't know. I think this is going to be a Cleveland Browns game, and I feel like whenever someone says that, it goes the complete opposite way. So
tough for us.
Moving on to the wide receivers, Jarvis goes up against Houston, the 26th best versus the wide receiver, which is bad. Despite this matchup, he's the only one that I trust for wide receiver. Pass catchers, I trust the tight end more. We'll talk about that later. Brandon, you want to break down the wide receivers for the Texans? Because I know you talked a little bit about this.
I feel like they're starting to really click with spreading out the ball now. I mean, you have Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller. Brandon Cooks actually get a little bit more targets the last 4 weeks, but they're like pretty equal in the amount of targets and the receptions and such. And I feel like that's pretty nice to have, 2 wide receivers that are pretty solid on the same level. And they're both solid wide receivers. Will Fuller's fast. Brandon Cooks, we've all known that story the last couple of years. He's solid.
Yeah.
And also, since they've been implementing him more to the offense, I just did the math. They've been averaging 28 points the last 4 games. And so I'm just expecting a strong passing game from Deshaun and just moving with the offense this week.
So moving on to tight ends, Austin Hooper will be back for this game most likely. He had a appendicitis. That sounds painful. So he's coming back after going under the knife. He's a great start. I like him as like the best pass catcher for the Browns in this game, especially with the weather. Houston's 22nd against the tight end. The 3 games before he got hurt, he put up 14, 10, and 10. That's startable if you're tight end. That's tight end one numbers. I mean, that you won't lose a week if your tight end scores that. The Houston tight end, however, has been a bit of a wasteland. No one's really emerged, so you're not starting any of those. So moving on now to the Washington football team versus the Detroit Lions football team. I have the Detroit Lions football team winning this game. What about you guys?
I agree with that.
I have the Detroit football team winning.
Okay.
I have the Washington football team winning.
So you got Alex Smith coming back and getting a dub?
Alex Smith and Terry McLaurin, 150 yards and Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdowns.
I hope so. He's on my fantasy team. But
The thing is that Kenny Galladay didn't practice again today. I don't think he's going to play.
Kenny's not playing.
So that hurts them quite a bit. I don't think the Detroit Lions football team got it in them this week.
All right.
Sorry,
It's
Zach.
going to be a low-scoring game, but I think Matthew Stafford's skill is going to get them over just by a little bit. Close game, though.
All right.
Stafford makes it.
All right. Breaking down the positions a little further. Alex Smith getting the start. Detroit's 17th best versus the quarterback. I just hope he does well, man. I mean, I'd love to see him just come out and make the best out of this season, just perform as well as he can. I think everyone does. But fantasy, you're not starting him probably unless you're in a deep league, 2 quarterback, etc. Matthew Stafford, he struggled last week with a great matchup. He didn't practice all week. Maybe that had something to do with it, but it was against Minnesota. Everyone expected the Lions to be able to throw on them, as everyone has so far. No Kenny G. Zach is saying that he's not going to play, but I still like Stafford. But there's probably better options for the quarterback. Zach, did you watch the Lions game last week?
I watched bits and pieces of it, and I can tell you Matt Stafford did not look good.
Do you think that's because of the practice?
Yeah, I think it's mainly because he missed the whole week because of the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fully blame that. The Vikings actually came out to play on defense for once, but
Right.
there was one of his interceptions was completely boneheaded, and I feel like that was just a slip up, honestly. But I think he comes back mainly because it's Matt Stafford. You can't count him out.
Right. Moving on to running backs. I like Gibson a lot this week. Detroit is the worst against the run. J.D. McKissick as well is going to be a great play. He got 14 targets last week. That's the Alex Smith effect. We'll talk about them both later. I want to see a full game with both of them, with Alex Smith, and see if JD gets all the targets again. DeAndre Swift has been taking the lead role. I feel like Zach knows more about this than I do, so I go ahead and break her down.
I feel like the whole reason they brought in AP to begin with was for that mentorship, because they play that similar role of just a power back going through the side rather than the middle. I think DeAndre Swift is good. I think he's way too young to be a big factor, especially against a D-line like Washington has.
Yeah.
Chase Young is scary.
Yeah.
But no, DeAndre Swift is I don't think you should play him this week for sure. If you have better options, then definitely go more than DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, Washington's got a great line, like Zach said. They're 6th best against fantasy running backs. Adrian Peterson revenge game.
Never know. Never know.
Moving on to wide receivers. Terry's really good, man. That's my analysis for him. Wide receiver 9 on the season. Full game with Alex Smith. Hopefully, Alex Smith still targets him, pushes the ball down the field. Zach, you have Terry.
Yes, I do.
I feel like I'm just only talking to you right now, but I mean, you have the most in this game. Does it concern you with Alex Smith being the quarterback now? Or I mean, Terry's done well his whole career. What, 2 years or 3 years with just incompetent quarterback?
Yeah, I was about to say. I
Really?
don't think the quarterback really affects Terry and how he does.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's honestly just that good to where the quarterback knows who to throw to, no matter who it is.
Yeah. So Kenny G's most likely out. Danny Amendola has been getting more targets than Marvin Jones, but Jones has been getting the value targets like in the red zone and such. Washington is first against wide receivers in fantasy. I was really surprised when I saw that. Because Washington has a decent defense. It's been really under the radar, honestly. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about the wide receivers. Tight ends, Logan Thomas. I think he can be good, and with Alex Smith, this could be interesting. He's someone to watch out for, in my opinion, if you don't have a tight end yet. TJ Hawkinson's really good. No Kenny G again. He's going to get more targets. He
Must
plays
start
well.
tight end.
He's very well. He's very well. He's very good. Nice.
He's very well. Yes.
He's very well, man.
Mhm.
Very well done. All right, moving on to the Jags at Green Bay. I got Green Bay in this game. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I don't know.
I think this is a quick section.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah.
This is
Fair.
another big game between Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers with another, like he's been doing, 3 touchdowns in the first half.
I'm gonna go Jags. DJ Shark's gonna get 4 touchdowns.
All right, we'll talk
Yo,
about
Lud's
him.
about to go off.
4
I
catches.
just got a manifest.
Maybe.
We'll talk about him. Jake Luton. He was a QB1 last week. Dude. I mean, good matchup against Green Bay.
Gonna go off.
Hey,
Jair Alexander exists is all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
yeah, yes. Aaron Rodgers, great. Poor defense, 30th against the quarterback. Another 4 touchdowns, probably. Running backs, James Robinson. I think this is an explosion game for him, possibly. Green Bay's been awful. Dalvin Cook's, his first blow-up game 2 weeks ago came against them. They're 31st against the run. Aaron Jones, also possibly huge game. 27th best against the run is the Jags. I retract my Aaron Rodgers 4 touchdown statement. I think both running backs could get 2. I mean, this could be a running game. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think
Bryce looking at him.
it's going to be a scoring frenzy, I feel like. Things will be just blowing up.
Yeah.
I think this game's gonna get ugly, if you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if Aaron Rodgers still has 4 TDs and 2 running back TDs as well.
Yeah.
It would not shock me.
Could be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it really could be. DJ Chark, he had a great game last week. Wide receiver 5 on the week. Green Bay's 5th best against fantasy wide receivers. Jair Alexander is shut down. But he came out of the game last week with a concussion, and I don't think he's been cleared yet. So
Oh shoot.
if Jair Alexander does play, DJ Chark is a great play, I think. But if Jair Alexander is healthy, I don't think you can start DJ Chark. I think this is one of the instances where you have to watch the cornerback's health on the defensive side of the ball. Boyer, you picked up DJ Chark after I dropped him, and of course he went off. Are you playing him this week?
I'll have to think because I have Robbie Anderson now, so I don't know if I want to play Robbie Anderson or DJ Chark. I haven't really decided yet. I'm leaning toward DJ Chark. He is in my lineup at the moment, but I have not decided which one I'm going to do.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on DJ Chark after his huge game last week?
Brandon,
My boy DJ.
I mean,
Brandon,
he's wide receiver 1. Is Laviska still out? If Laviska is still out, that also helps his targets. But
Yeah, he's
I mean,
questionable.
it's a wide receiver 1. Could be a high scoring game. Could be the guy to start. That's all it is to it, pretty much.
Yeah. Chenault has a hamstring issue. He's limited today at practice, so something to watch out for. But he's not really like an out-and-out wide receiver. They get him involved in the backfield. But yeah, DJ Chark could be in for a massive game. I really do think it all depends on Jair Alexander, though, personally. Devontae Adams is good, super good analysis on the Fantasy Football Show. Week 7 through 9, he's the wide receiver 1, averages 36 a game. Next best is Tyreek Hill at 26, 11 points ahead of Tyreek. He's really good, man. That's all I have to say. Lazard might be returning. Alan Lazard, he had a huge game. I think he went off for like 35 plus, and then he got hurt. Did not play the next week. MVS had a great game last week, but he only caught 2 catches. He only caught 2 balls for 24 fantasy points. Not very reliable, but with a lot of points up for grabs in this game, like we're expecting, could possibly start wide receiver 2 in the Green Bay offense.
Ooh, sweet tarts.
Tight end now, Tyler Eifert. Good game last week, 8.8 fantasy points. Green Bay's good against tight end. I don't think anyone's starting Tyler Eifert, right? Robert Tonyan. He hasn't done well since week 4, so it's kind of questionable.
I'm pretty sure he's questionable now too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he'd start either of these tight ends in this great matchup. Moving on to the next game, Eagles versus the Giants. I have the Eagles in this divisional matchup.
As do I.
Daniel Jones revenge game.
I better not. So I'm playing the Eagles B.
Giants win.
All right.
Giants win.
I agree. Giants win.
That's
right.
what's up.
Brandon?
Miles Sanders back.
So we got the Giants playing who?
The Eagles.
Giants. I'm going to go with it.
All right.
That's what's up.
That's surprising.
Wait,
It
did
is
I say
in,
Giants or Eagles?
Yeah,
You said
Brian
Giants. Let's
said
stick with Giants.
And then you said, "Yo,
I mean
Miles
Eagles.
Sanders is back." So I was like, I think this man meant to say Eagles.
all right. Yeah.
Not Eagles.
This game
Giants.
is in New York. Hopefully, dude. Okay, the last time they played on Thursday, it was a good game to watch. Like it was entertaining.
The Daniel
It might
Jones
have-
run.
It might have been poor football overall, but it was just fun to watch. Yeah, the Daniel Jones run, the Evan Ingram game-winning, like advancing the chains catch through his hands. Yeah, hopefully it's as good as that game was. Carson Wentz against New York in this last game was the quarterback 7 on the week. In for another good game. He's getting Alshon back probably. Jalen Rager's back. And like I said at the beginning, the Eagles are reloading. The Giants are 13th against quarterbacks. I think Carson's a great play. And Daniel Turnover Jones, the Eagles are 9th best against the quarterback. Last time he got 20 fantasy points, 8 of them coming on that run. So something to think about. He had 2 turnovers. There's better streaming quarterbacks available. Miles Sanders comeback. If he's back, you play him. Bruce, you want to talk about him at all?
Who?
Miles Sanders, man.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
You really was went.
Okay, so Boston Scott had the game-winning touchdown against the Eagles on that last Thursday, and that made me very sad. But I think Miles Sanders is going to have a really good comeback game, and he's coming off a bye week also, so that gave him a little more time on his injury. And I could see him breaking off some big runs because I think the last couple games, that's what's really got him his points was because he had his long run against the Ravens. He had his long run against the Steelers. I could see him putting it all together and having a pretty good, solid game this week.
Mm-hmm. I think that Boston Scott will still have a role. He showed that he's been good, but I mean, I guess they've always seen that with Sanders, he's been out a few times, and Boston Scott has stepped up.
That's his second time out this season, isn't it? He was out the beginning of the season.
Miles Sanders was out week 1, yeah. Moving on to the Giants side of the ball, Devonta Freeman, his health is in question right now. The Eagles are 7th best against fantasy running backs. If Freeman misses, Gallman could be in for a good play. You were talking about the possibility of Gallman having a good game, Bruce. You want to talk about that some more?
Yes, I think that if Devontae Freeman plays, he'll have a pretty decent game. And if Wayne Gallman plays, I think Wayne Gallman could outplay Devontae Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, last week he did pretty good, but Devontae Freeman was out. So I could see him – if Devontae Freeman doesn't play, I could see him also breaking out Wayne Gallman. I think he can have a pretty decent game.
Yeah, and Freeman, he has an ankle injury. I thought it was like a hamstring or something, but so yeah. Moving on to the wide receivers, Travis Fulgham has been a pleasant surprise for everyone who has him. Again, another possibly good game with the Giants being 24th best, lower half. But Alshon coming back, Jalen Reagor stepping up. They got Jalen Reagor in, I believe, the second round, so they have draft capital invested in him. They'll get him involved for sure. Dallas Goedert coming back. I think this is going to be like the downturn for Fulgham now because he was really the only weapon in the Eagles offense, and now they're getting 3-4 guys back and healthy once they get Zach Ertz back as well, even though he played really poor first half of the season. Bruce is the Fulgham owner. Do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm on the edge of who I should start this week, whether I should start him or not, because it's kind of scary that all these players are coming back. And, I mean, the guy I'd start in his place is Will Fuller. So I'm kind of waiting until Sunday to really decide which one I want to choose.
Right.
I have Fulgham in now, but that scares me that they're all coming back. But
yeah. The Giants side of the ball, Sterling Shepard is questionable for now. He's averaged 13 since he's come back. He's been decent. He came back against Philly. He had a good game. Slayton, I remember in this game, Slayton was open often deep, and Jones just overthrew him by 5 yards every time. If he hits on this, if he hits on with him this week, I think Darius Slayton could be in for a good week with a bomb touchdown. It only takes one, you know. Tight ends, like we said, Goddard coming back. He's healthy again. Richard Rodgers had 14.5 fantasy points against the Giants. He's the Eagles' tight end when Goddard was out. So I think that the Giants are susceptible at the tight end position. Evan Ingram.
You said the Eagles have Richard Rodgers?
I believe so.
That is PTSD. I hate Richard Rodgers.
Why?
Hail Mary.
Rip.
4 years ago, man. Still haunts me.
Miles Jack, get it.
Moving on to Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram revenge game from week 7, missing the game-winning catch. I think he has a good week this week. No really analysis behind it. I just think that he makes up for his poor game. Moving on to the next matchup. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Who do you guys have?
Bucks.
Bucks.
I mean, Tom Brady had an incredibly terrible game. The whole Bucks had an incredibly terrible game last week, but I say they come back just not really firing all cylinders, but just normal.
Yeah.
Nothing incredible, but they play decent and take the win.
I say the Panthers are going to win. If they come out playing like they did against the Chiefs, there's no doubt they're going to destroy the Buccaneers.
I say Bucks because no Christian McCaffrey.
All right.
Yo, who's Zach talking to?
Hey, Zach, who you got in this game, man?
Who are we talking to?
Hey, Zach, I can't hear you. Man.
Hey, he said,
No.
Wah, wah, wah.
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 Panthers.
Panthers,
He's
he
got
said.
Carolina. He's got Carolina. All right. So yeah, I have Carolina as well. I think that Tampa played poor last week, and I think that their struggles continue. Divisional matchup. Games are always close in division. And I think Carolina sneaks it away, like Boyer said, if they play like they did against Kansas City. Also, with McCaffrey on their team, they've lost every time, so they have more chance at a win with Mike Davis, right?
Yeah.
So Tom Brady breaking down the quarterbacks. Quarterback for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Embarrassing loss against New Orleans. Like, it was an awful performance. Matthew Berry said this. He said that in games that Tom puts up 5 or fewer fantasy points, the next game after his average is 20 plus. So this is another comeback possibility. Carolina is pretty good against the quarterback. They're in 7th against quarterbacks and fantasy points given up. In week 2, he only scored 9 points, so I think this could be another struggling week. Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback 10 on the year. Tampa Bay is 4th against fantasy quarterbacks. They got a good defense. I think that Teddy has been playing a lot better than anyone has given him credit for at all. I think he's 5th in yards. He's just not getting any touchdowns. And he's only put together one back-to-back 20-point performance this season. Last week he got one against Kansas City. I don't think that stat matters much. Which quarterback do you think plays better in this matchup? I think Teddy will play better.
I also believe that. Colin, are you starting Tom Brady this week?
Yes.
I say Tom Brady will do better.
Is someone gonna talk?
You got Tom?
Yeah, he's just got the better weapons. That's
I got Tom.
yeah.
I got Teddy.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Zach. But
Say it again real slowly.
Anyway, we'll move on to running backs. Tampa Bay is confusing. Ronald Jones looks really good, and then he messes up, so then they give all the work to Fournette, and it's really annoying as a Ronald Jones owner and believer. Carolina's awful on the ground. They're 28th. Who would you guys rather have, Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones? I feel like Ronald Jones always gets first in line for opportunities, and then they just wait for him to mess up, and then everything goes to Fournette.
I honestly, I wouldn't want either of them.
What'd you say, Boy?
I honestly just wouldn't want either of them. If I had
Okay.
but if I had a choice, I'd pick Ronald Jones. But I wouldn't particularly go out and trying to pick them up unless you absolutely have to.
I don't like either of them, but I'd also go Rojo.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette's weird. It's just
Yeah.
really hard to predict. I mean, you could just not touch the ball, or
Yeah.
he could have a big game.
Right.
It's hard to predict. It's not even like matchups. It's just what their game plan is. It's just the way it works.
Right. Yeah. So no CMC. Tampa has a good defense. They're 12th against running backs. And maybe the time off for Mike Davis last week, he didn't get a whole lot of touches like he had been getting, will be good for him. He kind of exploded in those early weeks without Christian McCaffrey, so I think he's a great play, despite the slight downgrade for a matchup. Wide receivers, Carolina has been good through the air. They're 7th best. They're the 7th best defense, so it's kind of downgrades the Bucks wide receivers. If they're all healthy, got to see if Chris Godwin's finger's still taped up. I mean, that definitely takes away from him. I think they're all starts. even with Mike Evans not getting really the targets that he really needs. But I don't think you can expect a whole lot out of them. I think they're all wide receiver 2s, possibly wide receiver 3 for Mike Evans. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Moving on
Zach?
to Carolina. Their wide receivers have been good as well. DJ and Robbie, and as well as Curtis Samuel. I think Robbie and DJ are the two better plays. But the past 3 weeks, Curtis Samuel's averaged 21.8, and he's wide receiver 9 in that time. Do you think that he is startable in this matchup? And does this trend continue of him being the more performing wide receiver 1 on this team?
I don't know.
Thank you, boy. All right.
I mean, I don't really know much about either of these teams.
Yeah.
I figured Boer would talk because he has Robbie.
Yeah, I had a lot of faith in Robbie at the beginning of the season because he was kind of blowing up and he seemed like the guy. But it seems like lately he's just an average and nothing spectacular what he was. But yeah.
Wait, yo, what was the question again? I was rating somebody on Assassin's Creed.
Is Curtis Samuel startable?
I think so. Even with because he was getting some running back touches last week, even with Chris McCaffrey back. So the fact that he's out, I think he'll get a lot more of those type of touches. It makes him a dual threat. So I like the start. I wish I would have picked him up, but Luke beat me to it.
Do you rank him ahead of Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore?
Nah, DJ, no.
I think Robbie Anderson's still the one for me. I'd start him
I agree with that.
any of them. And
That's why I traded for him.
Samuel currently 2. Yeah, tight ends. Gronk. He had a slump game last week, but I think he bounces back. Carolina's 14th best against the tight ends, and he's the only tight end in this matchup that you start. And if you have him, you probably start him in most leagues. Yeah. All right, moving on to the Broncos versus the Raiders matchup. I have the Broncos winning this game. What about you guys?
I have the Raiders. I don't think the
Raiders.
Broncos going to win another game.
I have the Raiders. I mean, I've liked the Raiders this year. I think they're a pretty solid team, to be honest.
Gotten a lot better since calling themselves Las Vegas instead of Oakland.
All right, Zach has the Raiders as well. He has turned mute. He does not know how to talk. He says Derek Carr is a sleeper for MVP. We got hot takes on on the fantasy football show. Drew Lock was QB4 last week. 26th best defense in the Raiders. I think Drew Lock is in for a great game. 2 straight 20 plus. I mean, make it number 3 right here. Derek Carr, another poor defense with the Broncos, 29th best against quarterbacks. Another good game, especially with deep threats. Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar back and healthy. Running backs, the Broncos have a good matchup. Vegas is 29th best. But I mean, as long as both of them are healthy, they both eat into each other's workloads. If you start one, I don't know who. I would lean towards Melvin Gordon over Philip Lindsay because he gets touchdown upside and he gets receiving work. But also, Lindsay just looks like he's so much better. Lindsay, he just explodes out of the backfield. What do you guys think? Who would you rather have, Lindsay or Gordon?
Gordon.
I like Melvin, especially like in
If I really
PPR
have
leagues.
to pick one of the two up, I'd pick up Gordon.
Yeah, I think
Zach said Gordon, by the way.
yeah, unanimous Gordon, but I think Lindsay just deserves another chance like he did his rookie season. He's really good. I like him. Wide receivers now, Jerry Jeudy had a breakout game last week. He had 25 fantasy points, wide receiver 8 on the week. Vegas is 16th best against wide receiver. Another decent matchup that he could do it again. For the Vegas side of the ball, Hunter Renfrow is the only consistent wide receiver that I would think about starting. But it's a good matchup, 25th best defense, but I don't think you're starting
Well,
any.
Aguilar's not too bad. He's gotten some touches recently.
Yeah, he had one deep shot, but I mean, I wouldn't go all in on him.
The last 2 weeks, though, he's gotten, 4 or 5 catches, I do believe.
So week 8 he had 0. Week 9 he had 2 for 55 and 1. He had 15.
Okay, I guess I'm wrong. I could have swore I just seen I hear his name a lot more on the TV than I thought.
Yeah, he's back and healthy. I don't trust any of the pass catchers except Darren Waller. You start him. He's the tight end 1 this week with no Travis Kelce. Noah Fant comeback. I think you start him. This is a good matchup. But yeah, that's pretty much it for tight ends. Moving on to the Chargers at Miami. I have the Dolphins simply because the Chargers cannot close a game. The Chargers will go up big and then lose. It just happens. Who do you guys have?
Dolphins. Tua's gonna go off.
You got the Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Devontae Parker.
Zach.
Dolphins are the team. Dolphins are the team that's going to run away with the dub this week.
So we all got the Dolphins.
Fix your hat, please.
Breaking down the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert's been great. Rookie of the year, in my opinion. Miami's 15th best against quarterbacks in fantasy. They have a really good secondary, so he could face some issues, but I don't think it matters. Tua looked legit against the Cardinals. He could be a good stream. Chargers 27th best defense against fantasy quarterbacks. I think Jackson did not practice today. I think I saw that recently. So it's kind of a toss-up for the Chargers backfield. I'm kind of staying away from it, especially when they activated Kalen Ballage off the practice squad last week, and then he got like 16-plus touches. I don't think you can trust anything. Matt Breida, you got to monitor his health as Myles Gaskin is on IR. I think he's the only running back I'd want to start with this good matchup out of this backfield. Chargers 25th best against running backs. I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are good plays this week with a good matchup against the Dolphins, 21st best against wide receivers. And I don't touch any of the Miami Dolphins wide receivers because they have been poor. And tight end positions, really simple. Gesicki could stream him with the Chargers being 27th best against tight ends. However, Hunter Henry, you play him if you haven't. All right. This is going
To leave then, because I'm about to leave.
All right, bye.
Didn't ask.
Yeah, I really don't care either.
Wait, Zach, can you talk yet?
No.
Oh, we've been
Oh, there you
texting.
are.
I hear him.
There you are.
Wait, what?
Zach!
There you
I
are.
hear him.
Fucking Christ! I didn't do anything. I typed in Matt Burrito.
He type was Matt Burrito.
Hey, yo, why Brandon look like that?
Hey,
Oh, Brandon looking like a ball. Hey, yo, when we gotta go pick up that TV?
All right, can we? Never.